Now in terms of text, I'm going to take my type tool. There are a variety of type tools here, but we're going to just start with the regular type tool. And the first thing I'm going to do is go up to my main menu and choose type. And under font, this is where you're going to see your whole list of fonts. So I already know that this computer does not have, and also because I'm doing this through Hudson Valley, Futura Bold, so I'm going to scroll all the way down to get to 20th century and use that one instead. I'm going to take a second to go all the way down. Almost there. A little slow. Okay, and I'm going to take 20th century. Regular. Although I could choose bold if I wanted to. So to type, we're going to type inside these boxes here, and I'm just going to do some very simple demonstrations. I'm just going to click and, for example, type in a word, in, and I can now go up to my options bar up here and change the font size. Oops, I need to select it first. Make it larger. And now I want to type my next word, but I don't want these two words to be connected. So I could either switch out of my type tool and switch to the selection tool, and now switch back to my type tool and click down here, which would allow them to be separate. Or, so I'll just type out another word, out. If I want this one, the word that's going to be after this, to be on its own separate layer so that I can manipulate it separately, I can hold my control key down, click into it so it's selected, let go, and now move outside, and I'm just going to put out again and type. Now the point is that they're all on their own separate layers. If I go over here to my layers panel and open it up, I can see that I have out and in on a separate layer. All of these layers that say path are for your boxes. So when I take my selection tool, they're all going to be separate. Let me just show you in this one over here. If I just type in space, and even if I hit the enter key and I come down here and I type out, and now when I want to move them with my selection tool, they're locked together. So I'm going to undo that, take my text tool, in, hit the control key so it's selected, kind of knocks it out, and then I'm going to, when I type in again, it brings it back in so it's on another layer, and then out. So to move these around, I just take my regular selection tool, which again is keyboard shortcut V, and I can move them and I get the anchor points around. I don't really suggest making them larger this way because that's going to distort them. I can hold the shift key down, it does lock proportions. If I put my arrow, I put my cursor into the corner, it becomes a curved double arrow, which means I can rotate. I can select individual letters and change their font size. I can also put in a font size manually. If I don't like the fonts that are here, I could put in manually up here in my options bar something that is not in the drop-down list. And the last thing I want to talk about is you've seen in some of the examples that the letters are kind of falling right outside the box, and the box is on top, cutting them off. So that's what's called a clipping mask. So to do that, I'm going to first of all make this a little bit larger, make the whole thing, my text tool, I'm going to select it, and let's make it 100. I just have to click outside for that to take place, and I'm going to move it into the corner here. So what I want is for this box to cut off the bottom part of my letters, so you only see the top part coming through. So that's my clipping mask. What I need to do is to go over to my layers panel and to know which layer is for which. So when I click on my word out and I come over here, I can see that the top layer is the layer for out because it's now has this little blue box on it. I'm going to click on my box, and I can see that this path is the one for that box. I can also click on the eyeball here, turn it on, turn it off. That just turns off the visibility, and that shows me which layer I'm on. What I want to do is take my out and put it below my path. Let's just double check I did the right layer. Yes, so this path is for my box, and this is the one that's going to have a clipping mask on it, and this out is the one that I want to be hidden behind my box. So I'm going to select both of these layers by holding the control key down and clicking into the circle. And now I'm going to go up to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And now you can see that two things. One, my out is hidden. Another thing is that I've actually lost the stroke on my outline, so I need to just go and put that back again. That's back. And in my Layers panel, I now have something that's called a group. And if I open it up, I click on the arrow, I can see my two individual layers. So if I want to work on my out or on the box, I can now select them individually because they've been grouped together. Okay, so that's just a good starting point for you to start working with Illustrator and thinking about the location and scale and learning this program.